Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, I am Anna Maria and you are watching Miracle Orchids, the place you can learn everything there is to know about growing orchids. Okay, so in today's video we are going to finish up the updates on the orchids that I am growing currently outdoors. And remember, if you want to see more tutorials like this 7 days a week, go ahead and click that subscribe button over here so you know when I upload something new. And with that being said, we are going to start with my Cattleya Gaskelliana. Yesterday I showed you the white variety. This is the normal variety, and this is supposed to have huge blooms 20 centimeters in diameter, which are lavender color. And currently I have 3 new growths. This one, which has a lovely and fat sheath, this one, which also has a sheath, and the third one is here, which I do not yet see a sheath, but I am sure it will produce one. This was the growth which she matured this year, and I'm not sure. I do believe that I can see now that it will actually be much more larger. So the leaf is wider, and yeah, I am very excited. I hope I am going to see some blooms very soon. I need to stake up this growth because I don't want it to lean over like that. It was bending towards the light, so I am going to put a stake and stake it upright. Next we have my Dendrobium Nobile Spring Dream Apollon. This orchid is right now in bloom. It is blooming out of season, and unfortunately it is growing outdoors. The blooms are white, and yeah, they are a bit dusty, but that is that. They are still pretty and very fragrant. Now this spring it was completely rootless. It has lost all its roots. Well, now it is absolutely full of roots, doing very well, and it has matured this growth, this one here, and now it is growing here another one. And unfortunately I did not sow this cake in time, and now it's quite large, so I will leave it, and when it is large enough I will detach it. It just needs some roots. So yeah, it's looking really good. It will have a winter rest, and hopefully next spring we are going to have more buds. This orchid right now, it's a heavy drinker, so I am feeding it pretty much every 2 to 3 days. That is how fast it absorbs all that water. So yeah, quite pretty one. Next we have my Cattleya Chinese Fire Phoenix. This is that Cattleya which has these weird markings. Not these ones, these are from the sunburn, but these ones here and here. So I have put her into very highlight location, so she did got some sunburns. That is okay. I don't really care much about the older leaves because I just want it to get adjusted to very high light, so that usually promotes healthier growth. So you can see the newest leaf doesn't have those markings anymore. Right now she has produced this growth which I staked just now because the leaf was bent over. As you can see, it doesn't have a sheath, it is a small one. It is a new direction of growth actually, but that is good because right now it is producing new roots. This orchid also had a weird deficiency. I could not identify exactly what it was, but the root tips were getting blacked, and that was not because of fusarium. This orchid is not infected with fusarium, but it had a deficiency which caused that, and now she has recovered from it, whatever it was. She's right now full of roots, and they don't dry up anymore. And here from the main direction of growth, it is growing another new growth, so I am quite happy. I am still spraying it with Faisan once a month or once every 2 months, depends how I remember. So she seems okay so far. Next we have my newly repotted orchid BLC Memoria Anna Balmores Convex, and we have repotted this orchid together in Perlite. That is the medium she was originally into, and I have put her into a self-watering pot. So right now I can see here we are still having quite a lot of water. This is quite moist, actually, looks quite nice, and I was curious how it will grow, so this is an experiment. I am not sure if I have posted yet the video where I have repotted, but if not, you are going to see it a bit later. So far she's doing good. Next we have my Leila Purpurata variety in color, and she has just matured this huge growth with this big leaf and this very fat sheath. Now this orchid usually blooms in spring, so I am quite happy that I am seeing that it is growing another new growth, which would mean that in spring I will finally have two spikes. Usually it did produce for me only 2 blooms from each, so maybe next spring I will have a few more. Now ever since this growth which bloomed last spring matured, it had this weird spotting on the leaf. On the back looks a bit more bad, and right now it is yellowing, and most probably it will fall. That I'm not sure what it was, why it produced it, but the other leaves are okay, especially the new one. So I am sometimes it does happen, you get a fungal disease, only infection only on one leaf, that leaf will fall and the orchid will grow very well. So it doesn't mean that the whole orchid is sick. Next we have my Cattleya cross Aclandier with whatever it says there. I have received this orchid about 2 months ago from Orchids and More, and recently I managed to sunburn it, so right now I am going to put it into a less highlight location, maybe a non-sedum light, because this orchid is yet small. I don't really think it's flowering size, and it is not yet fully adjusted to semi-hydro, so I will just move it into a less highlight location. Next we have the Cattleya Alma TipmaLee, and she has just matured this growth, which was supposed to be unifoliate. Well, it is bifoliate, and it has a sheath with something inside, and this other growth with the same situation, and it is growing now a fat new growth here, another one in here, and 2 more in here. So right now we are going to have 4 new pseudobulbs, which is quite nice. I always try to clean up these sheets because they can harbor pests. So yeah, I am quite excited to see this orchid in bloom, so maybe soon enough this growth will actually bloom. And of course some birds did poop on my orchid leaves. This is a bit gross, so I will go ahead and rinse it. Normally this is a good source of urea as a foliar feed, but they are my orchids and I can feed them properly without the help of the birds. So next we have this Cattleya White No ID that I got about 1 year and a half ago from Orchid Garden. It arrived to me with Fusarium. They fully refunded it, but I'm trying to save it, and so far it works good. So the growths are becoming larger and larger. They don't have any more closed leaves. They are becoming more fat, and also the orchid is absolutely full of root tips, so I think it is okay right now. Also, I have put this spring some moss on top, so I encourage root growth. So far the orchid looks good. It has many directions of growth. I'm quite happy with the results so far. Looks quite pretty. Next we have my Cattleya Jade. It has been in bloom about maybe 1 month ago, and right now it is in full active growth. It is growing lots of roots and also a new growth in here, and maybe this eye will start to swell up as well. I am quite happy with how this orchid reacts. It absolutely loves growing outdoors, so there will she stay quite pretty. Next we have my pride and joy, my Cattleya Dowiana, and this year she has grown this suitable, which we can see that the leaf is quite thick and much better than the previous ones. Look how thin these were, and look how nice this looks. Very nice. The silicone does seem to do its job. I will continue to use it. Look how fat this growth is. It is not very tall, and of course it did not bloom. It did dry up here growth, not sure why. That period we had lots of rain, so maybe that was the cause, who knows. But now it is growing this huge growth, which is pretty much the largest and fattest growth she has ever grown for me, and another smaller one here. I assume they will be similar size, only this is younger, and hopefully it will produce a sheath too. I am quite curious to see that, and I can already start to split the growth, so that is quite nice. The older leaves don't look good. Those are the leaves the orchid came with, and it had a weird infection, fungal infection. Now it is cured, and of course the birds, yeah, you cannot do anything about that. When and if this orchid blooms, I will pretty much dance of happiness. This orchid is the most popular Cattleya out there, and it is super fragrant, most probably the most fragrant orchid that exists, so I'm quite happy to see these fat growths. And next we have this interesting cross. This is a Cattleya purpurata caerulea striata crossed with Cattleya rex, crossed with Cattleya varsovicii. So it is a cross between three species, and we have repotted this orchid about 2 months ago. I have received it back then from Orchids and More, and it has 3 directions of growth. This one smaller, this one a bit bigger, and this huge one. I don't think it will bloom yet. I do know all these orchids, they are huge orchids, so the leaves will get a lot more wider before she can bloom, and very tall also, but maybe next year she will be able to bloom. I'm quite happy. The orchid likes being in semi-hydro. It is pushing up some new roots from this huge growth, and right now I am going to clean up this part of the dead sheath because I really don't want dead sheaths around my orchids. They really harbor pests, and I don't want that. And the last orchid that I am going to update you on, it is this Dendrobium Speciosum. I have received this orchid about 2 months ago from Orchids and More. We have repotted it together, and it did adjust to semi-hydro very well, but just now it has started to grow some growths from the base. So far it only grew roots, and this should receive a winter rest in winter, and I'm not sure if I will be able to give it that, because if the growths will not be fully mature, I will not be able to rest it. It is 1 year from flowering size anyway. It came with this sheet and this sheet, so who knows, maybe I am going to give it a winter rest. I'm still thinking about that. The pseudobulbs did turn purple because I am keeping it in very high light, and I even managed to sunburn it a bit. This orchid does stay in nature in full sun without any shade, and yeah, it seems that the light here it's quite bright, but I am happy with the results. The orchid seems quite happy. It does not have any wrinkles. It's looking very healthy, and hopefully the growth will grow big and fast, and we are going to see some gorgeous fragrant blooms this spring. And with that being said, thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you all next time. Bye!